Michael's pet dog suddenly started barking frantically at the dark woods. Hearing the aggressive barks, the rest of the survivors gathered around the area in absolute fear. Jack cautiously pointed his flashlight into the pitch-black wilderness, trying to spot what was hiding out there. However, due to the heavy darkness and a series of strange noises, he couldn't see anything clearly. Losing his patience, James didn't hesitate for a second and switched on a large, high-powered searchlight, revealing a shocking sight that left everyone completely jaw-dropped. A pack of massive wild boars was lurking right in the shadows. The moment the survivors spotted them, panic broke out and everyone began running in all directions to save their lives. Miraculously, instead of launching an attack, the wild boars sprinted away at a frantic speed, disappearing into the deep forest. Once the animals cleared out, everyone took a deep breath of relief. However, the peace was short-lived because the next morning, they discovered that all the salvaged food supplies from the aircraft had completely run out. Hearing this crushing news, James absolutely lost his temper, aggressively accusing the heavy-set man of eating way more than his fair share. Within seconds, a brutal fistfight broke out between the two of them. Sensing immediate danger, Jack quickly stepped in between them and managed to calm both sides down. But deep down, Jack knew very well that simply breaking up fights wasn't going to solve their actual problem. He realized that if they didn't secure a new source of food very quickly, these starving survivors would turn on each other in no time. Right at that moment, a sharp hunting knife flew through the air, landing right next to James. Startled by this, everyone quickly turned around to see where it came from. The bald man then stepped forward, suggesting that they could hunt those wild boars to satisfy their hunger. James, however, hated the idea, believing it was absolutely impossible to hunt such massive beasts with just a tiny knife. Without arguing, the bald man quietly opened his briefcase, revealing a massive collection of razor-sharp hunting knives. Seeing the arsenal, James was completely stunned. Without wasting a single second, the three of them set off into the jungle, tracking the animal's footprints. After combing through the dense forest for quite some time, the bald man suddenly sensed something off. He immediately raised his hand, signaling the other two to freeze in their tracks. Walking over to a large tree, he noticed fresh boar scratch marks, confirming that their prey was close by. Moments later, they stealthily approached the spot, and the bald man used hand gestures to map out the plan. He signaled Kate to stay with him for a frontal attack, while gesturing for Michael to flank from the side. However, the moment Michael saw him pointing fingers, he unexpectedly snapped and shouted in anger. Hearing the sudden outburst, the wild boar instantly went on high alert and charged directly at them at a frantic speed. The bald man managed to dive out of the way, but poor Michael took a direct hit and was thrown to the ground. Fortunately, the boar didn't attack a second time, allowing Michael to escape with only minor bruises. Even the bald man was deeply shaken by the close call. After catching no breath, Kate suggested they all head back to the campsite, but the bald man refused to let this opportunity slip away. Telling the other two to turn back, he ventured deeper into the woods alone to pursue the boar. Left with no other choice, Kate and Michael started heading back toward the camp. But halfway through the trek, Kate suddenly stopped in her tracks and, without saying a word, began unbuckling her belt. Seeing a girl do this out of nowhere in the middle of the woods left Michael completely bewildered, unable to figure out what she was up to. But a second later, Kate agilely climbed up a nearby tree, revealing that she actually wanted to get to a higher altitude to check the radio signal. Poor Michael was left standing below, staring at her blankly. However, right as Kate was securing the transceiver to an upper branch, a bone-chilling, terrifying roar suddenly echoed from the deep jungle. The roar was so incredibly terrifying that it completely panicked her, causing her to drop the equipment from her hands. Right at that moment, looking down from the upper branches, her eyes fell directly upon the dangerous beast roaming around that exact area. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to the danger, the bald man was still searching for prey deeper in the woods. Just then, the squeal of a wild boar echoed from the bushes ahead. Without wasting a second, the bald man sprinted toward the sound. However, a moment later, the boar's squeal suddenly turned into an agonizing shriek of death. Immediately after, the surrounding trees began shaking violently, and the blood-curdling roar of a terrifying entity echoed through the dense forest. Witnessing this, the bald man froze completely. He was so paralyzed with fear that he even forgot to run away. Right at that exact second, the massive monster appeared directly in front of his eyes. On the flip side, Kate and Michael had successfully made it back to the campsite. Kate immediately rushed to Jack and explained everything that had transpired in the woods. She even mentioned that the bald man had likely already been devoured by that mysterious creature. Hearing this, Jack's face went completely pale. But right then, his attention was suddenly caught by a rustling bush nearby. He feared that the dangerous monster might have tracked them all the way back to the camp. To uncover the truth, he didn't hesitate a second and dashed straight into the jungle. However, the moment he reached the deep woods, the bald man unexpectedly stepped out from behind the trees, completely unharmed. He was carrying a dead wild boar, and fresh blood was smeared all over him, making it obvious that he had just survived a brutal encounter. As night fell, the survivors gathered around to pray for the peace of the souls lost in the crash. During this time, Michael pulled the bald man aside and asked if he had genuinely seen the monster in the woods with his own eyes. The bald man remained quiet for a few seconds before bluntly stating that he hadn't seen anything out there, but Michael found that completely impossible to believe. And with that, the third part of this mysterious story comes to a close. But let me tell you, the next chapter is going to be 10 times more chilling and absolutely terrifying. If you want to see part 4 as soon as possible, drop up part 4 right now in the comments section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. For those who are brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss these mind-blowing movie recaps. I'll see you guys very soon in the next explosive episode. Until then, take care and stay safe.